morning, everybody. I mean, good afternoon. Jamie here. All right, so we're just having a call right now, and I was talking about a trade that I took today, and I wanted to record this because on our live call this morning, somebody had asked me about like I don't remember the exact question. It was like, what do you do when you're looking for a setup? I think that was the question. And so I just want to talk through this trade, one, to hopefully help people in the group, two, or in the world too. Two, to journal it for myself. And because this was like a really good trade. Um, all right. So this morning, when a lot of us was over here getting chopped up, trying to figure out what was going on, um, it finally started to reveal itself. So over here, we had previous week's high, and we took previous week's out high out with the news on the news candle. And then, it was just doing all this chop and, kind of confusing work. And, you know, people made money and people lost money and all that mess. But once price finally broke out of that and took that last little push up above um these highs up here, I was like, this is manipulation. So I was long on here. I'll show my executions again, and I got stopped out over in here. And then once I realized, like, oh, okay, this is manipulation. Let's get ready for distribution. And like Avery likes the term. No, I ain't gonna do that to you, Avery. I ain't even gonna say it. Um, so now I was like, okay, let me get ready for distribution. So when I show my orders, I'll show them. But I think I took a short and then I got stopped out, and then I kind of just waited for a minute. So one of the like this right here, I know Keita got in here. I already know. Tell me I'm lying, Keita. Just tell me I'm lying. Um so so part of the answer to the question for the person that was asking, like, what do you do when you look for a setup, it's all for me. And in this particular trade, just to give you a real life example, it's trying to interpret what's going on with the market, how price is printing. So, because we had taken out previous week's high, I'm on alert that we could potentially pull back into the range because we hit into a big pool of liquidity. So once we had all this chop over here, and then we had this chop over here, and then we had this push up, I'm like, okay, manipulation. So immediately I can go into, let me see, um let me hunting, hunting mode. So really this entry up here is a 2022 YouTube model, right? Because we had taken out the liquidity after we broke those highs over there. We had a short-term low, we had a displacement, we had a fair value gap, which also is a BPR. So that's the 2022 YouTube model right there. But so then it's just like, okay, what are we doing? So once price came down like this and started to retrace up, I was like, okay, I know we ain't bullish, I know we're not going to keep on running up, so let me just watch how price reacts over here. So it came back up to previous high one more time, it hit the golden ratio zone, and then it gave this BPR right here. So this is where I set up my entry and entered the trade. So I entered the trade here, and then as price was starting to drop, this was probably put in on a different time frame because this is not a 1 minute fair value gap. I might have did it on the 2 minute or something. But I'm watching it like displace through here and then come back up through here. We have a fair value gap. We had this volume imbalance right here. So I was like, okay, I'm protected. And so once it did that and then it left, I started watching this price action here on this dealing range. Come on. on this right here, because as I said in other videos on my channel, I want to be like, this is a model that I want to trade. And actually it happened 2 times because we had this drop down here, a retracement up. I want to get in on a bearish PD array after it retraced 50%. So that's like my dream, other than the 2022 YouTube model, that's it. So then once it dropped down here and put in this low and started having this high resistance liquidity run up to equilibrium, you see right here, it got here, barely got there, then it got here once, and then it just came up here and ran these relative equal highs. So while I got in the trade up here, I was watching, I had my fair value gap. I had this, intermediate term high right here because we've been studying market structure, filled the fair value gap, automatic intermediate term high. So I'm just like, just watching it, and watching what PD arrays, bearish PD arrays can protect me. So once we came up here, this one more time, when price was here and we didn't even have all this price action, I'm looking over here like, okay, here is a bearish breaker. And basically the breaker is you got a high, a low, a higher high, and then it broke through this level right here. So basically one of the ways that you can try to remember and understand what a breaker is, the way I interpret it, is it's basically a failed bullish order block, because this would be a bullish order block where you would expect price to come in here and then leave if we were bullish. But since we were bearish and we know we had that RTH gap down there, that's what I had my sight set on. So once we started coming down here and I saw this candle close right here, I was like, oh, we about to go. We about to go. So so I was just marking this and still looking, this I don't want to go through different time frames. But this is a fair value gap. It might have been on a 30-second chart. I don't know, a 2-minute chart. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to flip through time frames on this video. But this is not a 1-minute fair value gap the way I have this mark right here. So, once we, broke past here, you see we come back through it into the breaker, and then we got this fair value gap. This is a unicorn model. When you have a breaker paired with a fair value gap for an entry, that's a unicorn model. So then it was just a matter of riding it down for this RTH gap fill. And I have the RTH gap. This is the high of the gap. This yellow line, and then this is the low of the gap. And then, RTH, you come over here to regular trading hours, and basically regular trading hours is, this is where the market closed on Monday. This is where it opened this morning. So that's the RTH gap. So all the while that price was up here doing this funky stuff, and this right here was a 50% retracement into the RTH gap. But I was like, okay, let me just keep that in the back of my mind, that's sitting there, that RTH gap is sitting there. So finally, it just did exactly what we study and we want to see happen. And I got out. I was trying to see if it was going to take previous day low, but I wanted to keep as much profit as possible. So as when it came down here, I just started really trailing it really tight. So I think I got stopped out right about in there. So I needed to move on with my day. By this time it's 9:30, and I think I actually took a nap for 30 minutes because I was exhausted. And that's it. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that trade. Is there did I miss anything, or is there anything else anybody saw or that I should point out here that I might have missed?
Well, I was just gonna say you do have that market structure,
Over here,
right?
over here, over here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, either one.
Oh, just to help me be like, oh yeah,
Yeah, that we're
yeah,
bullet. I
yeah,
mean, bearish for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I
Point that out? The market structure, the bearish.
say it again.
Could you point out what Keita just said just now about the bearish, you saw the market structure or the
Well, you know how we've been talking about video 12 and the 2022 mentorship.
uh-huh.
So for example, this, I don't know if he would say a long-term high or intermediate term high. I'm gonna call it an intermediate term high and then short-term high, and short-term high. So this is actually if yeah, a Head and Shoulders as well. Is anybody familiar with Head and Shoulders?
I am.
Yeah.
Mhm,
That's all this is Head and Shoulders.
mhm,
Which is
yep.
bearish price action. So I saw that, I was like, bet, he talks about let me see. This right here is an intermediate term high because it filled this fair value gap, rejected off of the previous week's high. And remember, I think we talked about on Sunday where he talks about the bearish PD arrays, and it can be old highs or old lows, bearish premium PD arrays. This is the same idea. That's not what I wanted to talk about. This is not the same concept that I'm trying to think of. But it came back up to the up here. So you got an intermediate term high right there. You got really just
Down.
this is still because we feel this fair value gap. He says when you feel fair value gap, it automatically becomes a intermediate term high. So it's just we just kept making lower highs, basically.
Okay, now I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and respecting bearish PD arrays. So even over here, like once you have this drop down and this 50% retracement, and you see this respect off of that PD array, it's almost like any PD array in here you could get in on bearish PD array. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Take the trade. So this is, you got your order block here. It opened here, kind of dug in. Even if you did 50% here, okay, fine. You got your little volume imbalances over here holding you up, or keeping you down. But then this right here was it for me. And I try to see breakers and incorporate that into my analysis, and it just worked out really, really well today. For me to just sit there and be cool with it. And it feels good when you get an entry like this and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry. You know what I mean? I don't have to, most people on here probably know I have a patient will move my stop. You know what I mean? So I'll move my stop, get stopped out, and then it goes in the direction that we want it. Like if I didn't know about this 50% retracement right here and allowing for the 50% retracement to go back into a premium, I could have easily choked my stop down here and then been like, damn, I missed the moon. That's in the old days, not no more. you know. So yeah.
Jamie, what is the time of the candle that hit that fair value gap?
What
Um,
here?
no, on top.
This
Right
one
on,
here?
wait. That tiny fair value gap at the bottom, the candle that hit it on your right.
This right here?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a BPR. It's 1203.
1203. Thank
Oh,
you.
lunch.
Okay,
So
thanks.
yeah, matter of fact, we were talking about trading during lunch. I think on Sunday study group this week, and we were talking about, he says don't trade lunch, but this is an example right here. If you know what you're doing, that you can catch some good moves during lunch.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
other thing I was going to add real quick, sorry, just because that like you pointed out earlier, we had already went into the RTH, like hit the 50% and then pushed up.
yes. So we had
Then you can expect when we come back that we're gonna go deeper and most likely feel it.
yes, and it left this liquidity out here, like coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my here's my now I had what am I doing? I'm not thinking. So I had, acted a little buck wild today, and so I had to relegate myself to micros. So no, it was just one contract in micros, but it was still enough to, pay some bills. Um, and so over here, I was just I don't know what the hell I was doing, and then I think, I even got in. Did I have the audacity to get out in up here? Oh, maybe I was chasing it or something because look at that entry. That's garbage. That's boo-boo. So I think I was long and then I sold and then I I shorted again, and then I bought it back, and then I saw this, and I was like, okay, okay, I'm ready now. And then it worked out just fine. So then I trailed in my stop, and then I got out right here. So, you know, close enough for government work for the gap fill. So I feel like Keita Jr. today for sure. I need to
Really,
catch them. Or
Salute.
really.
I need to
Are
keep.
Are you still making your video, or I didn't want to speak over your recording.
Oh, I mean, if it's something that's gonna be helpful for it, then we can. It's fine for you to ask questions, or if not, then I can stop. If nobody has any questions that would be helpful for it, I can stop recording. All right, I'll stop. All right, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully something was in here was helpful, and I hope I made sense, because I felt like I was like a little not prepared when I was trying to talk about how you kind of get ready for your setup and what you're looking for, and understanding price action, where you anticipate price to go and what to wait for, blah blah blah.